I suppose you all had a chance to look into your own minds and see how your mind, how healthy is your mind. As we learned the 7 natures, qualities of the mind, we called it the wandering mind. I only received 3 people sending in their understanding. However, I would request even them to be more precise in trying to understand their mind rather than giving the understanding of their concept. It's not, I wanted to check how well they have understood the concept. What I wanted you all to go through the exercise is to clearly spell out to yourselves as to, if your mind is wandering, where is it wandering? If your mind has desires, for what does it have desires? If your mind operates on likes and dislikes, what are your predominant likes and dislikes? If your mind has attachments, what are you attached to, etc., so on and so forth, so that you are able to examine it in a course of a couple of months or 3 months. When you reevaluate your mind, you exactly know whether has there been a change, has there been a transformation, to what extent has your mind changed. It becomes a very important tool for self-evaluation. So if you have not done so, please do it. What was that, Gayatri Ma?
I usually make you the co-host. This time I forgot, so my mind was wandering on the questions that time.
Okay, no problem. I was not able to unmute myself, so right. Only this time or all the time?
Only this time, Guruji.
Oh, okay. If you say so. All right. $25, please. मालियावत देख कर कलियां करे पुकार, फूली फूली चुन लई काल हमारी बार, कबीरा काल हमारी बार। मालियावत देख कर कलियां करे पुकार, फूली फूली चुन लई काल हमारी बार, कबीरा काल हमारी बार। Very simple, seemingly innocuous, but very difficult to apply this quality. I would say very difficult. So the title given to the Doha is like the grievous buds. Seeing the gardener come, the flower buds started to lament. Today he plucks the blossoms. Tomorrow it will be our turn. Thank God they're just buds. If they had blossomed, they would soon be plucked. So what is the message here? The buds are sure that they will blossom tomorrow, and they know the inevitable end. So they're lamenting about the impending danger, the inevitable end, the inevitable death. So how many of us have truly prepared for this inevitable? You and I understand that when the child is born, the only thing that is certain is death, isn't it? And yet you prepare for your child everything else except the inevitable death. I want my child to do this. I want a child to get that. There's so much you think ahead, but where you should, you don't invest. Now, it might sound very pessimistic, sir. What is this, sir? First thing in the morning, you're talking of death. Death is, people say it's very inauspicious to talk of death. I would say there's nothing abominable in death. There's nothing terrible in death. If there's no death, there's no birth. If there's no birth, there's no life. There's no growth. There's nothing wrong at all in death. In fact, we often say, and hardly we understand what it means. We say it in a jovial way. We don't understand the deeper implication. We celebrate birth, don't we? But philosophers celebrate death. A Vedantan celebrates death. I don't know how many of you understand that. We all celebrate birth, isn't it? But from a Vedantic perspective, you celebrate death. You please make sense of it. Now, don't take it literally. Even philosophically, what does it mean? I'm asking you all because I don't have answers. Huh? Not every time is to draw it out from you all. See, you may say, sir, if you are expecting death to happen, it's very negative mindset. If you expect an end to happen, expectation is to be pessimistic, is to be negative. But to be prepared or to anticipate the inevitable is the most optimistic or positive school of thought. So when he talks of poetically a gardener coming and plucking the blossom, the flowers which are bloom, it's talking about the inevitable end. So it's a question of preparation. It's not a question of expectation. So when you're prepared, when the inevitable happens, it doesn't jolt you. As you and I understand, when you value things in life from the least valuable to the most valuable thing in your life is the near and dear. You're ready to sacrifice everything for that person. isn't it? You're giving your life for that person. And can you imagine when that person is taken away from you? Other day, in fact, if I don't mind me quoting you, Yashrima, you don't mind me quoting. She came other day and she was telling me that very close, very, very close family member passed away at the age of 28. A young girl passed away because of some complication of a booster dose. Somewhere in the US, it's happened. Don't be terrified. It is just another means of the inevitable. If the inevitable has to come, it finds its own ways and means. So don't be worried. I can just fall off the chair right now and I can die. I can just collapse on my head. I can just collapse, hit my head, and I can die. It's nothing to do with how you die. When the time comes, it happens. So don't be worried of how it happens, isn't it? But it was very sad when Jayashrima said that she passed away. I was only thinking of the family. What would be their state? How they're completely shattered. Their life is completely destroyed. It'll take so much out of them to bring back normalcy into their lives. In fact, any normalcy, near normalcy will take a long, long time. And how quickly you bounce back to your normal life or normal state depends on how much you've invested in this wisdom. So there is a direct proportion to how quickly you bounce back to your normalcy vis-a-vis how much you've invested in this wisdom. Oh, RPG will say, Guruji, I did not know you had share investments all in this. As a banker, he'll be thinking, oh, I did not know that, RPG. There is no investments here. The only investment is self-investment, RPG. So there is a direct proportion. I don't know, direct proportion or inversely proportional. That mathematics you do, you decide how it is. The more you have invested in this wisdom, the more time you take out of your life and devote to this wisdom, the greater you're prepared to face the eventualities of life. And the greatest loss you will ever encounter is the loss of your near and dear. And I can't convince myself how well am I prepared? Am I really prepared? When that happens, how much have I prepared? I have to keep convincing myself, I think, yes, I have prepared enough. That I can still stand by myself when the world goes by, because it has to go. And I can't hold on to it and say, hold on. It will not. That is the very nature of the world. See, yesterday, whole day I was literally involved in a wedding of a very close family member. And most of the time I choose to be very quiet by myself. So I was sitting all alone wherever I got a chance, just for myself, and seeing all the hangama and the drama going on. Close to 1,000 people were there, and all that excitement and the fun and the euphoria of a wedding. So everybody is carried away. Now, by the time they were handing over the hall, means we had to vacate the premise. As they were still doing their last few rituals and things, they were getting off the stage. The people who, all that beautiful decoration and the stage was decked up and all that lighting, one by one was being dismantled. And as we didn't even leave the hall, the flowers were being pulled down, the The arrangements were being removed, the carpets being dusted, the chairs were removed. We were almost telling, don't get up. If you get up, they'll remove the chair. Please be seated. And as we did not leave, the hall was getting ready for the next ceremony tomorrow. And Vaishnavi was with me. I got a chance to share this with her, how much gone into it, how much absorbed, God knows. I said, look at all this, what's happening. You were not long ago on the stage, excited about the whole thing. Look at all this. It's past, it's gone. All this excitement is so short-lived, isn't it? This is the preparation I'm talking. You may say, sir, why are you sounding so pessimistic? I'm not sounding pessimistic. When you see the flip side of it, you sit in the same hall. We were first few in the morning, everything decked up. You're the last few to leave the hall. Everything is dust and garbage and cleared up, nothing there. It only helps you to philosophize and say, is it worth getting carried away by this? And yet, 99 out of 100 get carried away. Just that moment means so much to you, you're swept away by it. The same principle magnified to life and your attachment to life, to your near and dear. When they go, your life is shattered. One of the most important quality you must remember in this context is, what is that quality he's talking about? We have mentioned of it. It's another opportunity to be reminded. That's about all. Nothing new. What is the quality he's talking about here? Again, when we talk of these qualities, it is not to know it. It is not to be informed of it. It is to use as a tool for your own self-evaluation, self-assessment. So you can use as a tool. These are all practical tools for your own development. Now, let me ask Raghu Garu. What is the quality you think we're talking about?
Yeah, Guruji. Good evening. As per this conversation, I think the quality we're talking about is maybe the constant reminder of the immortal nature of the immortal or mortal. Okay, mortal nature of the human being. Just keep remembering that when the day or the time comes, the game is over. Probably that's to just remind, and to add one more, like 30 seconds, I'll complete it. I was spotting a snake right now, just before the meeting. That snake comes every day, and the snake was very still and it's just in the creek where I live. And I know that snake
I was
one day will
actually wanting to ask you, where do you stay?
I live in a countryside in the East Texas. I moved to the farm here. It's a 40-acre farm, and I just live here, like in solitude and isolation.
Oh, it's a very small farm.
Yeah, it's a small farm in Texas because here everybody owns 500.
Right.
I had a friend who owns 800 acres in Oklahoma. So this is a very small one compared to the size. But what I was telling is that I got a little afraid before joining this call. I sent the picture to one of my friends and they said it's a poisonous one and things like that. But I think it's a good reminder for me. As long as the snake resides here, at least I know one day I will pass, and it's a constant reminder for me.
I hope the snake has passed.
It's staying same day, same place. It comes and I don't know, it's hunting some fish or something in the creek, but as long as it does its own work, I don't want to kill it.
Sir, only correction to what you said, you are not a loner there. You have company. You are not in solitude. You are not in solitude. That's all I will say.
Yeah, a lot of company here. Cows are there, and other things are there.
Right, right. Yeah. So coming to the point, you said how mortal, how short-lived, and how fleeting things are. So that's a direct message that yes, how temporal life is. So therefore, the implication is to develop a quality. You have to develop it, is not inborn. So the question I'm asking is, what is that quality you need to inculcate? Okay. No, I'm glad you're thinking along, Raghugaru. So the quality I'm looking at, Sriniji, what's that quality? That same quality applies to any loss, the most, from the least valuable to the most valuable.
I'm not able to get what the one word you're looking for, or what's the quality. I'm not. I've got multiple thoughts, but I don't think it's accurate.
But you're able to think along what we are saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it is nothing but in a layman's, in a mundane sense, have you insured your peace of mind? You've insured everything in life, but have you insured your peace of mind? You insure your car and you never want to claim that insurance, isn't it? So the first thing you buy the car, you get insured, and every year you insure it, ensuring that I never would have to use it. That is a sensible way of looking at an insurance. Similarly, you would have to insure yourself of life and all what life puts you through, and never ever expect it to happen. If it happens, you're prepared. That's the quality, that's the approach we should take. Otherwise, it sounds very pessimistic. I was thinking myself saying, are we not supposed to enjoy and get carried away and move on without lingering? Sorry, I'm adding little to her comments. Get carried away, she didn't say that, but I'm just adding little masala. What is that quality? Not spoken about, nor is there a system or a methodology. You have learned it, nor have you given your children. So everybody is dancing in the aisles, thinking it's life and that's what life is meant for, not knowing when it's going to end, how it's going to end, what's going to happen. When it happens, everybody is shattered. And that's the game of life, because everybody sees that. It's like everybody digging their pockets deep because none of them have. Yesterday, somebody was telling me that nobody, the concept of insurance never existed 50, 100, 200 years ago, isn't it? It's very new, this concept of insurance. Insuring your property or health. Health insurance didn't exist 50, 60, 100 years ago, isn't it? So when something happened, they had to dig deep. So they had to save in different forms so that they could provide for their eventualities. But I'm here talking purely about mental insurance. Think along, Sriniji, think along. Because you and I have no control over what happens to your things and belongings, including your family. You are not the family, sir. Family belongs to you. Remember that. You have come alone, you leave alone. Your family was just, they boarded along with you in your journey. You're not the family. You're not your home. You're not your job. You're not your bank balance. You're not the social image you're created. You're not the corporate image you're created for yourself. All this belongs to you. You're not that. I am not that. This is a very strong reminder what you are and what you are not. If I think myself to be that, then you're asking for trouble. The moment I say I am not, there is a distance. There is a separation. It may happen to that, but it shouldn't happen to me because I'm not that. But sadly, we have bound ourselves to the job, bound ourselves to the family, bound ourselves to the name, bound ourselves to everything that you are interacting. And whatever happens to them happens to me. Isn't it, sir? Whatever happens to it is happening to me. This is not the life a human should live. This is what Kabir ji is saying in his own way. But we are extracting that act concept which is being conveyed here. I still am on that question. What is that quality? I would like to ask Hirenji. But Sriniji, all the explanation was only to expand on the question. It just highlights that the concept is very apt. Okay. Yes, Hirenji.
I would say the word would be equanimity.
Equanimity.
Good time as well as in the bad time. But without worrying constantly that I'm waiting for my inevitability. We should not be worried about that as well.
Not at all. It's never, as I said, if you keep thinking of it, if you keep worrying of it, then it's a negative quality. But if you do your part and be prepared for it, you're not worried.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yes.
But the equanimity is not a cause, it's an effect. So I'm asking the cause of that quality which makes you equanimous. Equanimous is a state you reach, it's an effect.
Yeah.
I'm asking what is it that I need to inculcate or practice so that I remain equanimous in the vicissitudes of life. See, everybody gets carried away, whether be it good or bad, whether joy or sorrow, you get carried away. In fact, it's far easier. I've mentioned this point before, and it's worth mentioning here. It is easy to handle sorrow, but very difficult to handle joy. Relatively, if you compare handling joy or sorrow, it's easier to handle sorrow because you become philosophical when you handle sorrow. So I took an opportunity to philosophize yesterday in the wedding. The moments of ecstasy, I was philosophizing. That is a difficult part. Otherwise, you also can be dancing in the aisle with everybody. Arey chalo yaar, tamasha kare, maja kare. And you also will justify, what is there? If a function is going on, you also should jump. Not that I was sad or morose. I was very happy for the boy who got married is almost like my son, very close family. So I was very, very much happy to be there. But to understand the realities of life, never should you lose focus of the realities of life. If you lost your focus, then you're not grounded. Like when you meet certain people, you say, he's very grounded. Huh? All what is happening in his life is pretty grounded. What does it mean? He has his values well in place, isn't it? He's very grounded.
Does it not that self-realization is the ultimate objective we have been talking about? And once we get there, that brings our equanimity. Right?
That's too far-fetched. It's like saying, sir, I need to look into my immediate needs. I'm feeling very hungry, the pangs of hunger. You know, I barely get to have 2 meals a day. You're saying, so you become a billionaire or a multi-millionaire, all your problems will be taken care of. I'm hungry, I'm not able to meet 2 meals a day or a meal a day. I don't know how, when would my next meal come from? And you're saying become a millionaire. This is the disparity. We are talking about handling all life puts us through, and you're talking of self-realization. Self-realization is a pinnacle of human perfection. I'm talking about what life puts us through day in and day out. Experience to experience, we go through this, either joy or sorrow. This is what meets you, isn't it? Either good news comes or bad news comes. So that is far-fetched. I'm only saying it's too far-fetched, very far-fetched, beyond our capacity, beyond our limits at this point. Right? Realization is good to talk about.
Ultimately.
Ultimately. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Vasantama.
Is it manana during the Brahma Muhurt time? That was the investment we make to gain this knowledge and be prepared to face all these inevitabilities?
It is, yes, that's the effort. The effort one has to put it is the Brahma Muhurta, the early morning investment. If you don't do that, I'm afraid you're not insured. Yes, you're right. It is that effort. How much you have gone around your life and your busy life, that's for you to decide. No, sir, I don't have time to insure. Then pay the price. Move on, full stop. I've got nothing to do with you. You can't go to insurance company and say, please pay my claims. I said, you fellow, you're not even renewed. Get out, he'll say. Would he not say? He'll not entertain you any further. Would he entertain you? Politely will say, sir, sorry, we can't reimburse your claim because you have not renewed your insurance. We expired 2 months ago, sir. Oh, is it? Come back next year, sir. You can insure now, but you'll only be insured from this moment, not what you have lost. So I'm exactly taking the attitude of an insurance broker. You have not paid insurance. How can anything protect you? You're not protected. And I'm just going on. Some of you have known me for so long, and I'm going on and on and on and telling at what Vasantama is saying. Get up, Brahma Muhurtam, and invest your time into this study. Reflect on these ideas. I'm very busy, sir. Oh, I'm very busy. So many things happening in life. Okay, pay the price. Keep paying the price. A time will come where you get either fed up of me or you'll realize one thing will happen. I think the first will happen sooner because this fellow is nagging me now. I know Sriniji is laughing now. That means this is what exactly I've read his mind. Nobody else is laughing. Hirenji and Sriniji only laughing. Everybody else are studious seekers. These two people are laughing at me. I don't know what it is. Not that they're not serious. Sriniji, have I not read your mind exactly?
No, I don't think so.
Watch
I'm
out,
just
watch out what you say. So what were you thinking?
No, I'm just listening. That's
Okay.
it. I'm not.
Yeah. Yes, yes, Sushmama.
Guruji, I think it is actually detachment with your near and dear ones, but it's easily said than done because I've thought about it a lot. But I know if the time comes, I don't know, still I don't know how well I'll be prepared. Though I think giving it a lot of thought, I know one day I have to part with them. And almost I almost feel let me go before any of the near and dear ones come, because I'd rather go myself. So I feel it is detachment. It's easier to have detachment for your possessions and money and other things. But the near and dear ones, it's very difficult. I mean, at my age, I've thought about it a lot, but I still feel, I don't think I'm 100% prepared for it. When the time comes, I don't think I'll be prepared. I'm being very honest.
No. I think all of us, as I've said, we all are encouraged to inculcate these fundamental principles of life. These are the fundamental principles. In fact, as we call it, this is the knowledge which prepares you to face life. Vedanta is a knowledge which gives you the know-how of life in living and how to deal with what life throws at us. As simple as that. And what life throws at us is what you go through day in and day out, good and bad, profit and loss, birth and death. So question is, how well we are prepared. And I agree with you that only when that happens, we would know how well we are prepared. So the quality I'm looking at, you can say detachment. Yes, how well detached you are. But you're coming from a slightly different angle. I wouldn't say wrong, but that quality where I'm trying to, or what we are trying to extract from the context is slightly different. Okay, ma. But I'm with you. I think along with you, and I agree with you that. But the more you invest, unknowingly, your premium you're paying more and more. And when things happen, it is like they give an example. You know, when you look at a huge mountain, does the mountain become a burden on your retina? Is it a burden on your eyes? Just because it's the sheer scale of the mountain, is it a burden on your eyes? It is not. In fact, you just behold the beauty of a mountain. It could be a collapsing mountain, it could be a snow-capped mountain, it could be a beautiful scene, but it's not a burden. Similarly, you can experience anything in life, it is not a burden. So it will pass. And may you live Shata Samaha. The Shastras say, may you live 100 years. No? So don't talk of going. Okay. We are very selfish. We want to have more of your company. Okay. We are selfish. Okay. Right. Yes, Setuji. Thank you, Sushmama. What's that quality, Setuji?
Hariom, I was also referring to the same it's Vairagya, quality of Vairagya.
See, Vairagya is to give up a pursuit of something. Like you can say you have a certain Vairagya towards material wealth. If material wealth is offered to you, you will not get excited with it. Somebody comes with a business proposition and say, I can give you an opportunity of spinning money with your investments. You would say, sir, I have seen money. I've been successful. I've made money in my life. That is of no more interest to me. I'm sure you will say that. Certainly you will say that. That is called Vairagya. That is different to a quality we're talking. It's so totally different.
Attachment to anything, getting detached is a quality which we are also talking about.
No,
Not
sir,
get disturbed
no.
by any happening.
The
We
quality
because we are accepting every happening and not getting disturbed is we get disturbed because of attachment.
Again, you're not wrong to say that, but that slight different angle I'm looking at, slightly different angle. Not wrong, sir. Slightly different angle. Yes, Harish. Yes, Harish, you can try now, please.
Yes, Guruji. What quality comes to my mind is that we need to understand that we are just a mere witness, just an observer to life as per se. And I don't know if that is the right direction of thinking in this context.
Doesn't really directly answer, but you're not wrong to think along that way. You're not wrong. See the quality. Okay, let me ask Ramji and then RPG. I'm saying RPG because I don't want to say that.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaskar, sir.
I think I can guess that it must be referring to living in the present, not worrying about past nor actions about the future. Always live in the present. Because I think here what the birds are doing is they're worried about their future, tomorrow what the Mali will come and do. And instead of enjoying their current status of whatever is their beauty or whatever is their environment.
You're drawing a beautiful meaning from the phrases, from the Doha. But what we were saying was, when things inevitable has to happen, which Hirenji said, you have to maintain your equanimity. If you have to maintain your equanimity in and through the good and bad, the birth and death, what is that quality that's required to remain inevitable so that you don't get disturbed? What is that quality? But you're drawn a beautiful meaning from there. I'm with you on that. Yes, sir. Anything more?
No, sir. I also thought of detachment, but I think that is already done. So that is not the answer.
No, you're not wrong. Nobody is right or wrong. It's just
I know,
trying to get
what
a.
you're looking for is not detachment. So you're looking for something different. Yeah.
I'm very detached to all your answers.
No, sir, but we are all attached to our own answers.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to help, sir. Please, I'm sure you'll appreciate. I'm trying my best to help you all out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you, sir. That's all I want, sir. That's all I want.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, RPG.
So
time starts now. Yes, time starts now. Huh?
So I was thinking along the same line as Ramji. So just that the word lament is captivating. So I've heard, I don't know if you've said it or in other circles, why die every day? Live in the present.
Die once.
Die once. Why keep rehashing? I mean, you see the gardener coming, the tax man, the whatever, the flood, whatever. Live today, live in the present. Do all you can in terms of your obligation. But why die every day?
Correct.
But I don't know if that's I don't know if that's the answer you're seeking.
It sounds good, but sorry to say.
Yeah.
You know how I am with you.
Yeah, I know.
I have a lot of love for you. I've got a soft corner for you. But with heavy heart, I must say no. No.
Yeah, no, I understand. I appreciate the easy way in which you've let me down.
Yeah, Tinky Ma.
Guruji, I don't know, could it be acceptance? Like, we get so many things in life. So when that attitude of acceptance is there, we understand that the world is changed and there are dvandvas. So we need to accept all. And you had mentioned in our last class, I think on Saturday, about endurance, titiksha, I think it is. So the endurance to accept whatever happens with equipoise. And that be it.
Can I say pass?
Yes, sure. Yes.
Thank you, Ma. Yes, Mahendraji.
The quality to understand that I'm not the mind, body, intellect complex. I am already the part of the universal consciousness.
The answer is way beyond the scope of the question, sir. The answer is apt, but it is way beyond, because you encompass the very essence of Vedanta in that answer. which is true. In fact, I can take a lot out of that, what you said. You're very right. See, what the quality I was getting at is the quality of being self-sufficient, a capacity of not being dependent on anything other than oneself. That's the line of thought which I wanted to bring it out. So when you have invested on this wisdom, when you pay your premium, to put it in that way, when you invest in this wisdom, what you develop is a great amount of self-sufficiency. A self-sufficiency is to be understood as not being dependent on anything external for your own peace and happiness. So when you are not self-sufficient, you need the external factors to keep you going. And the absence of it creates a hollowness or a void or an incompleteness within. So the question is, how self-sufficient are you? It's like a person is like let's say, a best example could take two examples. One example is as a toddler who starts to walk. They get this walker, isn't it? What do you call a walker? What do you call that? Walkers. The kids hold on to the walker and then they get on to walking. Their weight is actually not falling on their feet, but just barely touching the ground, so that they start using their limbs. And a month or two go by and they don't need that anymore. You need that walker. You're dependent on a walker to walk. The same thing happens, let's say a person who is injured. In the process of rehabilitation, you need a walker or a walking stick to aid you. You're dependent on that because you're not self-sufficient. Your limbs are not strong enough, not recovered well enough to be self-sufficient. So the idea of dependency, a walker conveys. UK.
Yes, Guruji, I was just trying to, those thoughts only came into my mind.
Correct. You only came to my mind when I mentioned of that. Why? Just for the benefit of them, others, she just come out of a, can we say that?
Yes.
She has come out of a knee replacement surgery. This was a couple of months ago, less than a couple of months ago. So she's going through the rehabilitation process, and when we visited her last, she was using a walker or a walking stick, and now she's let go of that. She doesn't need a walker. She had to hold the wall and walk. So a person who could walk normally, but she had to go through the treatment, the surgery, the procedure, and then you go through a process of rehabilitation. So you become dependent. And then once you develop that strength, you're no more dependent, isn't it?
Yes.
The walker is of no use to you now. So it's there. You don't need it. So you've got to visualize the same concept, mental dependency. What are you mentally dependent to keep you going? So when that doesn't exist, then it shows on you, it tells on you, it hurts you, it affects you. And the greatest of loss is when your near and dear are no more with you, to tell yourself, they belong to me. I am not it. I am what I am. If I have what I have and all I have is lost, then who am I? Beautiful phrase. If I have what I have and what I have is lost, then who am I? I want Kashish to repeat that in her beautiful voice.
Guruji, he said, if I have what I have and what I have is lost, then who am I?
Say it again, please.
If I have what I have and what I have is lost, then who am I?
Can you give example? Really try to relate it to your own life. Doesn't have to be personal, but something which you as a teenager could relate to your life. In fitting into what this quote says, if I am what I have and what I have is lost, then who am I?
Guruji, the way I think I can relate it to my life is I recently graduated university and
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. And all of my teacher feedback, for example, for my assignments was on a website that belonged to the uni. And I had wanted to take it and save it before it was lost, but I didn't have the time and it all went away. And in that moment, I had that panic of this information represented my learning journey at university. And if it's gone, did I have any proof that I learned, that I did well, that I studied? But if I am to practice this teaching, if I have what I have and what I have is lost, just because that information is gone, doesn't mean I didn't study 4 years and get a degree. No, of course not. I still learn. I'm still that person who has learned. So the actual data itself doesn't matter because the memories of the learning are there. And even then, if you expand that further, I'm not even the student who has learned. I'm something else entirely later on. So
beautiful. Yes. So that loss of what you had shouldn't dent you as a person, isn't it? Now the question is, can you stretch that to everything that belongs to you? And you are the possessor, and they all are possessed, including your friends, family, relatives, everybody. The most dear ones as well. The possessor should not become the possessed. That's the entire philosophy. You are the possessor, remain the possessor, and enjoy your possessions. Never ever be possessed by your belongings. Remain the possessor, enjoy the possessions, never be possessed by your possessions. The possessor is the master. The moment you're possessed, you're a slave of your possessions. You've lost your liberty or lost your self-sufficiency, isn't it, Kashish?
very true, Guruji. Very well said.
So what we need to do is intensify our efforts so that the most demanding, the most valuable, in your own minds, you may have a value for something very great. And when that passes, because that's the very nature of it, it doesn't hurt you. Perfect, Kashish. Very good. In fact, Going back to the very famous words we have heard, and it keeps resounding in our minds. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate, Samprapte San Nihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karane. The concluding words of that first chorus verse of Bhaja Govindam, he says, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karan. All what you have done in your course of your mundane life, Nahi Nahi Rakshati. It is not going to come and save you. When the appointed time comes, it will not save you. When you need it most, all what you have done in your worldly affairs of life is not going to salvage you, save you. Therefore, the text appeals to us. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. O fool, understand this. So the awakening is in the understanding that Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Kare. Nahi Rakshati. It will not protect you. All your wealth, all that you have amassed, all that success, all what you think is going to secure you is not going to secure you. Nahi Nahi Rakshati. The real awakening isn't that. This is the message. Very, as I said, seemingly innocuous. The buds lamenting that tomorrow we will be bloomed and we will be plucked. Such an innocuous message, but one of the most difficult qualities to practice is to be self-sufficient. Yes, Raghugaru, you wanted to ask something, sir, please.
Yeah, Guruji. Initially, I was doing some kind of understand the meaning of Bhaja Govindam, that all the verses. But I asked few of my family and everybody, they just know the Bhaja Govindam, and rest of the whole key content they were unable to tell even my parents or anybody else in my circle. So I am looking for a book at least where there is a translation and detailed commentary on those verses. If you know any book available on Amazon or somewhere else, I can order them and at least study a little bit on this.
I could recommend to you, I will send you the details. Also, I would encourage you to follow a series of classes which are there on YouTube. It was, in fact, prior to this Sant Kabir, we actually held Bhaja Govindam. In this very class, we taught Bhaja Govindam. So that could help you to listen to a dialogue like this. And we brought out the deeper meaning of that profound text, Bhaja Govindam. That could be sent. Gayatrima, get Raghuji's number and send him the link of all those. I don't know, is it all comes or one come? I don't know how it works. Those YouTube links can be sent and then you can follow the course. And I also recommend you a book which you could fall back on and read. So it would help you in understanding. In fact, many people prior to this learning, they only looked at it as a mere musical. So they just sang, and the great Empress Subbulakshmi had immortalized that great text. So just people think it's just a musical, not knowing the philosophical meaning. So I'm glad you asked. It's very, very apt and it is very beautiful. Please go through that, sir. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Now, the point comes when we talk of investment. When would you invest your time into this wisdom? When should you invest your time in this wisdom? Pushpama?
Haribam Guruji.
Hariom.
And there is the feeling of insecurity. We feel like investing for the future. I don't know whether it's correct.
No, you're not wrong. There's no right and wrong answer. But you're saying when you feel a sense of insecurity, you should invest so that your future is secure, isn't it? Is that what you're saying, Ma?
Yes. Recently, I was talking with an insurance agent while doing insurance. There is suppose you want to do on the child, there is a column, if the child dies, you will get this amount, like with that meaning. Then I told him, if it is like this, I will not do the insurance. But he said it is a rule, Amma, what to do, we can't do anything like that. So there is it is not meaningful for us, but.
In fact, you're right. Every insurance claim, every insurance policy has, if that happens, you'll get this.
I said, if it is for me, I will do. Something happens to me.
No, in fact, that's the most logical thing. That's what exactly we're saying. When you get insured, they are preparing for the worst and helping you out. It is not anticipating death. It is not expecting death. It is only providing and preparing for the worst to happen. They're two different things. So they'll say, if this happens, you're also protected for that. That doesn't mean that would happen or you should want it to happen. They're two different things. So, so there's no necessity to feel any other way than just reading it that way. If you look at it that way, there's nothing wrong in that. But question is, when should you invest? You should invest from the very beginning. From the very beginning. So that when life challenges us, and I know how life has put you through a great challenge, Ma. And you can relate to the idea. I know you are able to relate to the idea. So when anything, it can happen all of a sudden. It can happen. When it happens, we are least prepared that, oh my God. And then it just jolts us. So you should invest it at a very young age, as early as you can. The same concept of investing in this wisdom in the olden days was Gurukul, isn't it? Children were sent to Gurukul, to a guru, to learn these value systems in a structured way, so that they got this knowledge even before they got scholastic education. In fact, it should go hand in hand. If there's a way we can inject this knowledge so that you're prepared to face what life throws at you. So you should not, go back to the Kashish, you remember the Doha we learned earlier? Dukh mein sumiran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi. Jo sukh mein sumiran kare, dukh kahe ko hoy. He who thinks of these value systems in the moments of his joy, where is sorrow for such a person? So if you invest into this wisdom in the acme of your life, I don't know the right meaning of word acme. Neither you do know, Kashish. You don't know what acme means, the acme of life?
No, Guruji.
We'll ask Rajima, our principal.
The pinnacle of your life, Guruji.
The pinnacle of your life, in the best moments of your life, when everything is going so well. I would recommend this knowledge to your children and your grandchildren. because they are riding high in success. Every time all is very well with our children, they're very well placed in life, all is going well for them. Teach them this knowledge. You all have seen life, you have all already gone through roller coaster. Now why are you lending your ears? I know you're nothing else to do, you lend your ears. It's okay. I also need some audience. Never mind, please come. Don't get me wrong when I say that. But who needs it is your children and grandchildren. They need it. Because they are in the acme of your life, not you, isn't it? And you know how well prepared they are, because you know how well prepared you are. I am not being pessimistic. They need it. So also there's an urgency to step up our efforts, to inject the effort, get your priorities right. Where should be the priority, Sriniji? You better get it right, otherwise you will be banned from the classes. A strong word, but I have to use it. See, I have chosen few words for you in RPG, so they only come out in certain contexts, you know.
I think it's the concept of what you just said earlier. It's in the present of being self-sufficient. I think it all boils down to that, I think.
What is it you need to do, sir? That's the question. What do you need to do? Step up the efforts is the point. The urgency is to step up the efforts was my statement. And I said, what is it you need to do? Having said that, what effort am I to do? Where should I step up the effort? Better get it right, huh? Second chance.
I think I want to get banned because I see it. Okay. You're being sanctioned in yes. Today's context.
So you know the inevitable. Huh? I knew the inevitable even before I asked you. So everything is perfect. What do you need to do, sir? Get up tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock, sir. You like it or not? Get up in the morning. Brahma Muhurtam. That is what you need to do. Step up the effort. Let everything else wait for that moment. Don't justify that moment to pass in the pretext that something else demands more time than this. No. And if you do that, you will not be protected and ensured when the thing nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karne. It should haunt you. Oh my God, I have not done it so far. Let me do it now. And what is that effort? Get up and remind yourself of these sanatana dharma, of these principles. Digest it, question it, understand it, reflect on it. You got to do that effort, sir. And when you do that, your time, 4 a.m., 4 to 6, sit at the desk with this knowledge. You like it or not. You have time for it or not, create it. When you're being rushed to the hospital, you wouldn't say, please hold on, I have one important mail to be sent. Well, what are you talking? You're being rushed to the hospital. I'm being rushed to the hospital and say, let me finish this one important message. Everything else halts, wait. This is urgent, important. Realize the urgency. And if you realize I've done my job today, if all of you realize the urgency to step up the efforts to build your own capacity to be self-reliant, be the possessor, not the possessor, be a master.
So to be honest, my dogs wake me up at about 4:30. Okay, and I have to.
So the message was for you, sir, not for them.
No, I know.
Are they also in the room?
No, I think they're in Shanti's. They prefer the better boss.
I agree to that, but I think their receptacles are far more tuned in than yours. They are following.
No, the point I'm
like.
saying, I was really trying to get is it's maybe now about 2 months. And then it's very difficult to get back to sleep. So I put my AirPods on and I've been listening on Spotify, a bunch of things on Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita and various lectures. The honest issue I'm having is after about half an hour, I actually go to sleep. So, because I have a normal habit of waking up early and listening to Squawk Box, which is a CNBC program, because I lived in the East Coast and Mahendraji will know, and that was my early morning routine. This is when I was working. So now I miss it because I'm 2 hours behind. So I switched from Squawk Box because I realized that listening to CNBC has only made it worse, and how the market is behaving. So I now switched on this to listen to it, but I go back to sleep in about half an hour. So I'm not able to pay attention to it completely. That's my honest personal feeling.
Right. No, it's a habit you got to cultivate. And I would recommend you to not listening, but put in a conscious effort in reading or writing down. Go to the exercise. If you listen to something, try to jot down the points. So you're much more alert when you write down. So
That's
it's a
true.
much more conscious effort because so imagine if there's no conversation like what we have now, there's a very great chance that you will switch off. I've got this feedback from many people that I'm always on my toes when I'm in this class because I don't know when I'll be pulled up and I need to be constantly with you. So I'm keeping, but what you listen to is just a one-way dialogue. It's not a dialogue, one-way communication. And it's obviously going to put you off to sleep. And if at all you do sleep, don't go back to your bed, sleep on the desk where you are. If you're sitting at a desk, sleep there. So you get to the habit of getting up from the bed and sitting on the table and sleeping there. I would even say that. Get up from the bed at 4 o'clock, go to the table and sleep there. At least you have gone into the ritual of getting up first and then slowly start reading and writing. So you create for example, so these dohas are there. Okay, I could recommend you to go back from the first doha, listen to this, is all there. I don't know whether it's on Spotify or Wi-Fi, but some Wi-Fi will help you to get that connection. Get that and listen to it and start writing down what the verse doha is. What's the essence of that? So you're listening for an hour, a half an hour, and write down what's the essence. So it's your thoughts and start relating it to your life. What are the experiences you're going through? For example, this particular doha tomorrow morning, you can actually write the takeaways of this message, drawing a parallel to your current life situations and challenges and how you are facing them. Like last week, you were told to write the wandering mind, the 7 aspects of the mind. That could be a very interesting self-analysis and exercise you should do morning 4 to 6. And that requires you to think. No way you will fall off to sleep. That is that exercise you're trying to relate the knowledge to your life. That directly helps you in your situations, what you're going through. And end of the day, when you do a postmortem through introspection, also you would know, oh, how well I've done, how well I've fared, where have I gone wrong? So it's a continuous process. So enrich that early hour activity with these kind of conscious application, not just a passive listener. It's a conscious application of this knowledge relating to your life. It's not a generic information, please. You're not don't become an information hunter. And I would certainly not recommend CNBC, wherever East Coast or West Coast.
And I would 100% agree with you.
Yeah. So
creates more angst.
So there's a very famous English saying, read not times, read the eternities. And you're still caught up in the times. Read not times, read the eternities. So these are eternal truths, what I'm saying, So this will build your wisdom quotient. So step up the effort only means each one of you create a time that you could be available at 4 a.m. Come what may. And for that, you have to have, as Setuji said, some vairagya towards certain activities which you're used to. Oh, I'm used to watching movies late at night. Vairagya, drop them. Oh, I am hooked on to Netflix. Drop them. Disconnect the Wi-Fi cable from outside. Rajima, take a sharp scissors and disconnect it. Snap it. So there is no connection only. You're forced to sleep. So whatever it is that keeps you awake, get to bed early so that you can be in that auspicious hour. And the rest is for you to see it. The taste is in the pudding. Once you live that life, you would know what I'm talking about. The joy is there to be experienced. Right. We'll come back. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.